Ruiz. The draft is next week, you guys. We are 10 days away from the first night of NFL dreams coming true. I'm joined tonight by Brian Baldinger and David Carr, a former #1 overall pick. So as we predict the NFL careers about to start, we take a look at a player who's closing his chapter on the field. Quarterback Alex Smith was the #1 pick in 2005. Now, his improbable comeback is officially over. Smith announced today he's retiring after 16 years in the league. Smith was the 2020 Comeback Player of the Year, returning to the field 2 years after a devastating leg injury. Our David Carr and Smith, they've been chatting. We'll have more on his retirement a little bit ahead in the show. Right now, though, an important injury update from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. He says he'll be ready for the season after surgery on his toe. The injury had Mahomes hobbled in the Super Bowl loss to Tampa.
Yeah, I think I'm progressing well. I think I'm ahead of schedule myself. Obviously we're trying to be cautious and not push me out there too soon. But I'm doing what I can. I've gotten out of the boot finally. It took forever. And now I'm trying to get back on the field and get that stuff working. And so I'm sure they'll keep me along that same pathway to I can be able to hopefully do some stuff by the end of the offseason.
A big hello from the big screen here to David Carr and Brian Baldinger. Hello, guys. All right, David, we could actually see that impact of turf toe on Patrick Mahomes during the Super Bowl. You actually know exactly what he's going through. What can we expect in his recovery and his return next season?
Well, I expect him to make a full recovery. The only issue is going to be, you're going to feel great some days, and then you're going to push it a little too hard, and you're going to feel it, and it's going to come back. I had turf toe, and it lasted for over a year because of the same reasons. You'll feel good for a week or two, and then you'll go out there, and you'll just feel it kind of not pop, but you'll feel it get tight, and then it gets sore, and then you start limping around. So I think the smart thing to do, which is right where we're at, is perfect for him. You're in the offseason. You've gotten it recovered. You've gotten it healed up. Now just be really cautious about what you're doing with it and how much pressure you're putting on it. You're putting yourself in a position to where you can make a full recovery, but if you let it linger, then it will linger into the season, and it'll last for a very long time. That's not what you want, because you think about the Super Bowl, he needed all the mobility he could get, being able to get out of the way, move around, and this is what he does. This is the space that Patrick Mahomes lives in. And if he's not able to do this, at least as effective as he has been in the past, then the Chiefs aren't going to be as effective, and he's not going to be the dynamic player that we know and love. So just be smart about it. You got plenty of time. You want this thing to go away completely, so you don't have to wear a metal plate in your shoe. You don't have to do any of those things that you did last year trying to survive the rest of the season.
Dave, it's one of the most agonizing, annoying injuries that any athlete can have.
Yep.
And so on April 19th, my advice to Patrick is to chill. Because, like you said, like this thing, if it lingers, it's hard to practice. You can play the games like he did, but it's hard to practice. We need to see Patrick Mahomes at that MVP level. We need to be entertained on Sundays and Monday nights and Thursday nights. We need Patrick Mahomes on the field making these kind of throws, just doing the things that he's done over the last 3 years that just kind of take your breath away and just go, who else can do these things? And that's what we need to see. That's what I want to see. So whatever it takes to get there, Patrick, slow is the go.
Yeah, no question that everyone over there in KC is making sure that he stays the course, doesn't get overzealous. It's kind of tough to contain a player like Patrick Mahomes, but at least they have enough time to do that. And while we're speaking of the Chiefs, both Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes talked about Alex Smith. Of course, Mahomes' former teammate there in Kansas City. Mahomes has never been shy about giving Smith a lot of credit in helping him become an NFL quarterback. Take a listen.
Just a tremendous guy, obviously a great player. Dealt with adversity throughout his career and always seemed to come on top and to be the better from it. And someone that he's dealt with different coaches, he's dealt with different systems, and he's always had success. And then obviously with the injury that he had, to be able to come back and lead his team into the playoffs, it shows the type of man that he is, the type of team player that he is, and I'm just grateful for the time that I had with him that really developed me to be the quarterback that I am today.
You guys know what I feel about him. He's just a heck of a person. I texted him a while back. If he gets into coaching, I get first dibs on him. So, which I doubt he will. But it's if he decides to go that route, he would be a guy that you'd love to have on your staff. So, but he's special person. Go down as one of my all-time favorites there.
Andy Reid always thinking a few steps ahead there. All right, Frank Gore honored his former teammate with this tweet saying, "Blessed to start the NFL journey with Alex Smith at QB1." Now, Smith, of course, reflected on his own career, his incredible return to the game, and now his next chapter.
I got to chase the big daddy, that I got to go, my Everest, that I could see if I could go play football again. And I got to do that. And I'm so thankful for it. I still feel like I have other mountains out there. And it does come back to me being a father and a husband, and I want to go do it with them. My kids are at an amazing age, and to be able to go do some of these things with them that I thought had been taken away from me forever. Again, I'm so grateful, and I want to go do them. I want to do more. I want to say yes to more, and I'm excited for it.
He's earned every bit of that next chapter. For more on Smith's retirement, let's go to NFL insider Ian Rappaport. Ian, how did we get here? How did this come about?
Well, a lot of this started for Alex Smith with exactly what he's talking about, which is beginning rehab, as of course multiple surgeries for Alex Smith just to get his leg back, really working again and to get him walking again. But the goal for a lot of that was just to play with his kids, and that's kind of how it started. The fact that he was able to actually get back on the field, get back playing with the Washington football team, get in a game, a meaningful game, lead this team to the playoffs is frankly more than anyone involved really could have imagined. Obviously, kudos to Alex Smith just to getting to that point, the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. Easy, obvious choice. And actually, there was some thought, significant thought, to playing this offseason. He had a visit with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know there's some interest there in signing him. The Houston Texans also had some interest in him, although there was nothing imminent planned. They just kind of kept tabs on him. In the end, though, Alex Smith really had done everything he needed to do. Maybe if there was an opportunity to really play, he might have taken that. Instead, it was going to be a backup. So now he walks away to go play with his kids, which is a good choice.
Doing so on his own terms. All right, Ian, thank you. The 49ers, of course, drafted Alex Smith #1 in 2005. Here's how he stacks up against other #1 picks. When it comes to most QB wins, yeah, it's Peyton Manning at the top of that list with 186. Alex Smith, though, #5 there with 99 wins. All right, David Carr, come back in here, my friend, because you and Alex Smith, of course, have a very good relationship. You've been talking as of late. How important was it for him this past season completing that comeback to the game?
Yeah, and you heard Alex talk about one of the main reasons why he felt like his career could be finished is because he went and did what he wanted to do, show that he could come back, and not just show to himself, but show to his family and his children that he could overcome what seemed like insurpassable odds. And I'm so proud of him because not only was he able to do that on a national stage, but I know him as a friend and a player, and he's one of the most mentally tough people I've ever been around. And this was several years ago, before this injury even happened, where I knew that this guy was going to be successful no matter what. And we were together in San Francisco, and we would talk about, the struggles that he had, the struggles that I had in Houston, going through different coordinators, different play callers, how tough that was. And I got a lot of encouragement just having conversations with him because of the mental fortitude and the mental toughness that he showed. So my hat's off to Alex Smith for a great career, persevering through all the things that he persevered, being replaced by Colin Kaepernick, then being replaced by Patrick Mahomes, then bouncing around, breaking your leg, and then finding a way to come back, and then not only come back, but be a successful quarterback and win football games to where people still want you to go out there and play. Even though he's limited, and he knows that he's limited from a mobility standpoint, and he's not the player that he used to be, but to still come back and almost reinvent yourself and find a way to be successful. I mean, it's just another thing that you can just pile on top of his incredible career, and not his incredible career, but just his incredible person that he is. So I was truly blessed to play with him. I wish him all the best with his family. Fantastic human being.
David, I think from now on, when we look in the dictionary, resilience, perseverance, it's just going to be a picture of Alex Smith moving forward.
Oh, no doubt.
All right,
no doubt.
Thanks, David. And from one QB retiring to another one wanting to be drafted, North Dakota State QB Trey Lance held his second pro day. The Falcons, Patriots, and Broncos among the teams watching the workout. Now, Lance decided to hold a second pro day after the 49ers traded up to that third overall pick. Our draft expert, Daniel Jeremiah, has Lance going 4th overall to the Falcons. Charles Davis says he falls to New England at 15. David Carr, he's going to break down Lance's pro day a little later this hour. All right, we'll know where Lance and the rest of the top players will land just next week with the 2021 NFL Draft presented by Verizon. It all starts Thursday, April 29th, live from Cleveland when Urban Meyer and the Jags go on the clock with that first overall selection. And as we get closer, you can see the draft on NFL Network, ESPN, and ABC. This week, a special NFL ESPN crossover draft insider event all week long. You'll be seeing ABC and ESPN personalities right here on NFL Network and vice versa as we build towards the draft in Cleveland. Tomorrow on Total Access East saw a new champion for the first time in over a decade. And now the race for the Bills' top spot is on. Here's how our Daniel Jeremiah has the AFC East coming out of the draft next week in his mock 3.0. So he's got a QB to the Jets at 2, the best receiver in the draft to the Finns, and the best defensive player in the draft to the Pats. While the Bills, they take Joe Tryon at number 30. Here's Jets legend and Hall of Fame QB Joe Namath on what he thinks Gangrene should do at number 2.
The Jets have done their homework, and who knows if they're even going to take Zach. There are a couple of other guys out there that are pretty good too. So we don't know that he's locked in.
Can't you make an argument for taking Joe, the Alabama quarterback, at 2?
The Alabama quarterback reminds me a bit of maybe I wouldn't call it slow, but the gradual footwork has developed into good footwork of a guy that came out of college and he's won 7 Super Bowls. You know who I'm talking about. Tom Brady, he's not fleet of foot. Jones is not fleet of foot, but he might be the best player of the bunch.
Ooh, all right, 10 days away from Thursday, April 29th. That's when we'll know for sure who was selected in the first round of the NFL Draft, live from Cleveland. David, you have Zach Wilson going to the Jets at number 2. Why is that?
He's a dynamic player, dynamic passer. He gets it. He's a tough player. I love his football knowledge, his understanding of his offense when he was at BYU. And I think that with what Robert Saleh is going to do, bringing basically the West Coast offense to the East Coast, and he's going to run a version of Kyle Shanahan's offense, brought the coaching staff over there. Let's just watch what Zach's able to do. Here's play action. We see this a lot in San Francisco. Set up in the pocket, deep post down the field, basically a flick of the wrist. That ball's on a line before the safety can get over there and make the play on it. You got vision down the field, 2-on-1 ball. He looks down the middle of the field. He can hold the safety. Then he has arm strength enough from the pocket to just throw a perfect ball down the sideline where only his receiver can get it. And same thing, step up in the pocket and not really even set. And there's going to be a lot of times when you're playing with the Jets where your feet aren't going to be in a great position. We saw that with Sam Darnold. He can make those throws. Arm angle, he's got a great ability to throw from different arm angles and find ways to get the football to guys. But on the move, this is where this guy excels. His ability to just make plays dynamically, feet off the ground, flick of the wrist, right up on the sideline where only his guy can get it, like kind of a back shoulder on the run. I mean, that's a rare throw. And then we've seen this one. This is a viral clip that goes forever. But that's another one that's just, you just don't have that. You just don't teach that. You know, when you go to a quarterback school or when guys are coming up, they either have that ability or they don't. I love Zach Wilson with the Jets. I think he can change the dynamic of that offense. That offense, first of all, with the Jets is going to look different. It's going to be better. You know, what they had with Sam Darnold and Adam Gase, you know, it was tough. It was hard to watch sometimes. I really think that they're going to be great on offense with the Jets, just given some time in this young quarterback.
David, Zach Capono Wilson, your co-Polynesian Player of the Year, by the way, in case you're wondering there. All right, Baldy, there's a little bit of mystery around what the Patriots will do at 15th overall. What do you think they should do at 15?
Well, let me uncover some of that mystery, MJ. Look, they addressed a lot of needs in free agency. Tight ends, receivers, defensive line, linebackers. I think one area that was a little neglected was the offensive line. I mean, if you look at Isaiah Wynn, their left tackle, he spent the last 3 years finishing the season on IR. Trent Brown missed a lot of games with the Raiders over the last 2 seasons. I think that, you know, they lost Joe Thuney in free agency. I think offensive tackle makes a lot of sense for this team at 15. And I think there's a couple of good candidates. I think Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech makes that's Ali Vera Tucker here. He played left guard and left tackle, played left tackle last year for the Trojans, but he played left guard the year before. I think he can play either one. He's got the size. He's got the nastiness. I think he's a good athlete. He gets to the second level like he does here. I think Ali Vera Tucker is right around that spot where he belongs. And then, so I think that's where they should be looking. It's a little boring for a lot of fans, but I think Cam Newton would really like if Ali Vera Tucker was in that lineup of this coming season.
O-line boring, never that, Baldy. If they really want to set up camp for success, that's where it starts and that's where it ends. All right, David, the Finns have double the fun in the first round this year. What are the Dolphins doing at 6 and 18 overall?
They do, and I like, I saw DJ's mock, and I like Jamar Chase there. I like a playmaker at 6, and I think that when you have a young quarterback like Tua, I think Najee Harris would be a dynamic player to fit in there and kind of take a lot of pressure off that guy, be able to hand it off, kind of like you do with a Derrick Henry in Tennessee. I mean, a big physical back that can just take 30 carries if you need to. Think about what they want to do. They want to play tough defense. They want to run the football, and then Tua, as he grows, he'll be given more. But I think this young back can punch right in there and just do what he needs to do to take some pressure off Tua. And then, later in the round, there's going to be an opportunity for a lot of edge rushers. I think there's significant guys there, but I really like the center from Oklahoma. I really like Creed Humphrey. I think Creed Humphrey can be a guy that can come in, and now you got Najee. Go get you a center that can make calls, help Tua figure out what they're doing on defense, and just lead the way. And I think, there's going to be, like I said, opportunity to get edge rushers. They probably could use one there, but I really like giving your quarterback a running back that can pound the rock, and then a center that can help take some pressure off of him from pass protections, from different checks, and then just overall protection, being able to step up in the pocket. So they do that young quarterback's going to be good to go.
David Carr, this is why we're right here. I would love to see Najee Harris in a little aqua there. All right, Baldy, last but not least, what about the Bills? They're leading the division right now. They have that 30th overall selection. What are they doing in Buffalo?
The last time we saw him, MJ, was in Kansas City, and Patrick Mahomes had his way with the Bills defense. I think edge rusher makes a lot of sense. I saw where DJ gave him, Joe Tryon. I like Joe a lot. I don't know if he's going to be there at 30, so I gave him a couple of options here. I gave him Jason Owa from Penn State, who tested phenomenally. I think he still has to learn a lot about the game, but he's an incredible talent coming off the edge. And so I think that makes a lot of sense. I think he's a first-round talent. Got to grow into it. And so that's what I'm looking at. Carlos Basham at Wake Forest makes a lot of sense as well. I think he's a first-round talent. Played really well at the Senior Bowl, played 4 years at Wake Forest. I think either one of those players would fill a need. Last year they drafted A.J. Epinesa in the second round. He's coming on. I think you got to keep restocking that position if you're Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills added some offense. Emmanuel Sanders in the receiver room, Matt Breida in the backfield, too. So it makes sense that they would go and beef up that defense in the draft. All right, guys, thank you. And there is a popular theory about this year's NFL draft that no running backs of the top prospects is North Dakota State QB Trey Lance. Lance held his second pro day earlier today. The 49ers, Patriots, and Falcons among the teams watching Lance throw. Former NFL wide receiver Jordan Matthew was on hand to help catch some passes there from Lance. All right, David, Trey Lance, second pro day, boom, check and check in the books. A lot of different projections for him, though. What is your outlook for the North Dakota State QB?
I think there's a reason that there are so many different projections, because there are times when he flashes brilliance when he's on the football field, and it can be in a pro day, it can be in an actual game, but then there's also times where you see, some things that are left to be desired, where he has a little bit of inaccuracy. He has some issues in the last game that he played. I know it was only one game, so maybe that's not fair, but I've heard things around the league that there's some red flags there about how he was able to produce even in that one game, at a lower level. So I think that's why you get this. But there's no denying that the kid is talented. He has ability. And I really think the best thing for him, I want to see every quarterback be successful. And me and Baldy were talking about this earlier. This is a lot like Jordan Love. Jordan Love has tremendous talent. Jordan Love's from my hometown in Bakersfield. He worked out about 100 yards from where we're sitting right now, my backyard, and he wasn't really ready to go in. And he went to a perfect situation in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be able to learn from one of the best to ever do it. And if Trey Lance could do that in like Atlanta, with Matt Ryan, and really get it, and then be in a system what Arthur Smith's going to run, which is going to be perfect for him, that's kind of the perfect storm for him. Go watch Matt Ryan do it, then run an offense that's going to be just tailored perfectly for you. Then he has a chance to be successful. Any other situation, I'm going to be a little bit nervous for him, especially if he's drafted really high, to push him out there on the field before he's ready to go. But I really like Trey Lance. A lot of upside. Yes, he has to be in the right situation.
Consistency, what you're looking for, David. But, yeah, he's got that arm, that athleticism there. I think paired with those that structural part that you're talking about could really translate to the NFL. Yep. All right, David, thank you. For you at home, let's get you caught up on the day's top stories here. Alex Smith, He's calling it a career. The curtain dropping on a 16-year journey that began with an opening act at the top as the top pick in the draft, now wrapping up after an improbable return from injury, a return that earned him Comeback Player of the Year honors last season. Hey, fun fact for you. Patrick Mahomes traveled 497 yards before throwing the ball or being sacked in Super Bowl 55, all while dealing with a turf toe injury that required surgery shortly after the game. But no need to worry. Mahomes said today that he is ahead of schedule in his recovery and expects to be a full go for training camp. As for the man who won Super Bowl 55, Tom Brady, the ageless one, he had a bit of a tune-up on his knee by way of surgery as well, one that was reportedly planned well in advance of the playoffs and one he's recovering well from, too.
I feel pretty good, and I push myself pretty hard, so I feel pretty good. I don't know if I could go this week, but we'll see how things play out. But it's a long time between now and the beginning of the season, and just be smart about all these different things we have to do and fulfill. But like I said, we all take a lot of pride in being ready to go, and I'm sure we will be.
Rams season ticket holders were treated to their first in-person experience at SoFi over the weekend. The $5 billion stadium didn't see a single fan last season, its first due to the pandemic. SoFi, the site of next year's Super Bowl, too. Back in LA for the first time in nearly 30 years. Last year, it was Cliff Kingsbury lounging in style on draft day. The Rams, they've taken it to another level, converting a 9,000 square foot Malibu beach house into their draft forum. Come on, the Rocket Mortgage Draft House. The team will also host other business from the house throughout the month of May.
Handoff, Najee goes right, goes left, goes right, goes left, goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Here's the handoff. Najee bounces off one man, hurdles a man on the right sideline. Another Heisman moment for Najee Harris. Najee into the backfield. He'll fire forward. He's got a touchdown. He made one man look foolish, and he flattened the other guy for the touchdown.
Alabama's Najee Harris is widely regarded as the top running back of the 2021 draft. Dolphins, Steelers, Bucks are the top targets of our mock drafts. You can see them at NFL.com/draft. And no matter which team drafts Harris, he's been preparing for this moment for months.
Happy birthday! There's my mom right here, my brother. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, They try to like tell me not to do this stuff for my birthday, but I actually told them to make my schedule hella busy on my birthday. So when I walked through that door, I didn't even remember because I thought about all the stuff I got to do today.
Drive and hit it. Bah, 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 go.
There's a time where you can celebrate, and there's a time really to keep grinding. Oh. And this is one of those times. Even if it's my birthday, like that doesn't stop where the draft's gonna be at.
Now stretch up. Ankle.
It doesn't wait for you.
Flick them up, fast arms the whole time. Pop, 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 pop.
You know, the dream that you chase for so long is so close. You could take a break after you're done.
Finish. Go finish. Bow.
Also in the college football playoff against Notre Dame. This is a choose-your-own-adventure. Freeze it. You're one-on-one against a corner. What are you going to do? Outside, inside, spin, stiff arm? No. Take to the air. Whoa. Up in the clouds.
Look, I even got a shirt about it. This is where I'm making like a brand. It's crazy because I hurdle so much. It's another like little move in my arsenal. I always try to add things in there. I try to have an answer to every situation.
Najee Harris gets away. Down the sideline, up and over. Who would have thought that was possible?
He might run past you. He might run around you. He might stiff arm you. He might run you over. He might jump over you. You watch his highlight reel, and you can see that. You're putting defenders in a very tough spot to have to make a quick decision because he's already got his mind made up when he gets to you. This is what he's going to do to you.
I'm blessed enough to be in a position where one of my mentors is Marshawn Lynch. He helps me out a lot with everything, really. How to approach certain situations, business propositions, training. He check in with me every now and then and say, like, you good? Like, you need anything? Like, is it stressful and stuff like that? So, it's a whole team, but Marshawn's been in my shoes, so, Marshawn really helps me out a lot.
Alabama does it. National championship number 18.
After the season, the game was on a Monday. And then the next day, I literally came to Texas and start training, start rehabbing too. Your college career is over with, and now you're working with the NFL.
We would train on a normal year for the NFL Combine, and this year that doesn't exist. So now we have to continually prepare for Pro Day. Now he is pushed all the way out to the end of March, so we can take a little bit more time with him, which is good in a situation like his, particularly where you have a high carry back who played lots of games and had lots of load on his body. And for him to be able to come in and get healthy and, you know, get his ankles, knees, hips, and back and shoulders feeling like they should and being able to turn the corner on that has been a big part of it.
At the end of the day, like, when you have a running back who's the same size as a linebacker, 6'2", 230, is agile and catch and do all that stuff too, that automatically separates you from the rest of the pack. When I train, it's just a way where I can free my mind, where I could just like be at peace in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, with all this stuff that I've been through and all the stuff that's going on now, I feel like, you know, training is just a place to do better in the sport and improving all the things, but like really just a peace of mind, like just to get away from the world, I guess.
Baldy, 6'2", 230. Are you joking right now? I mean, you know exactly where I want Najee Harris to end up here, but in your opinion, what is the best team fit for him?
Well, he's a first-round talent, and he could go to that team with the Aqua that you're very familiar with in South Florida or Pittsburgh. I think it makes a lot of sense for both teams. He's a workhorse back, a lot of volume. He can insert his will on the other team. There's not many backs like this in this draft or in any draft that have this kind of size, that vision. Yeah, he can bust away. Those are highlight-type runs, no doubt. He scored 57 of them in his career. But this kind of stuff, just light feet, big back, knows how to finish. All right, so we'll show you the whole skill set right here. Patient, behind the offensive line here, get him to the alley. Of course, the highlight jump against the Domers right there. But this is the stuff that really separates him. He's a three-down back. This Texas route right here, to perfection. All right, he caught 70 passes in the last 2 years. A lot of them for touchdowns like that against Florida. That ability to adjust to the ball in the air is beautiful. And then ultimately, all backs got to be able to do this. Protect your quarterback, give him an extra tick for a guy like David Carr or Mac Jones to make this throw down the field to Devontae Smith right there for a touchdown. He's a unique back, and I really like his chances in the first round.
All right, I want to paint a real clear picture for the folks at home, Baldy. When you are watching this film, is there anyone that Najee Harris reminds you of?
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell. Because Le'Veon Bell, when he came out of Michigan State, he was 230 pounds. He trimmed down a little bit in the NFL, but he was always a great receiver. And he was in Pittsburgh throughout his tenure there. I think he catches the ball like Le'Veon. Definitely a dual back. And so he's got that type of power that Le'Veon displayed for the majority of his career. So I think that's a comp that fits. It makes a lot of sense.
I love the comps here because there's been a little bit of a devaluing of this running back position as of late. But you look at the guys like Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, new to the league, Christian McCaffrey, and the Leonard Fournettes of the world. And listen, those guys are literal game changers, Baldy. I think Najee Harris, he can get to that level. All right, Baldy, thank you. I can't think of too many reasons to hate on